Surprise, you awesome geeks! We're back with another episode this week, brought to you by the members of the Star Wars Room Builders group over on Facebook. A couple months ago, we set out a challenge to have the members build and compete in an Andor control panel build-off, and they did not disappoint. So today, we're going to review those entries and award the winners. If you want to get involved in challenges like this, and more room building, then go to the Facebook Star Wars Room Builders group, link in the description down below. And without further ado, let's have some fun reviewing some panels.
Cassian Andor, what I'm asking is this. Wouldn't you rather give it all to something real?
No. But that would make a kick-ass control panel.
How? How's that possible?
You just take some EVA foam, some cardboard, and LED lights.
Welcome to the Star Wars Room Builders Group special event with your hosts from the Smuggler's Room, Build Something Out of Nothing. You know him as the Godfather, Brian Thompson. From Turbo Base Build, Llama Diorama, James Cully. From Props and Villainy, Mr. Positive, Kelly Stern! And from the Doomsday Outpost, the Laser Cutter Nutter, Martin Zerame! And this is the Andor Control Panel Prop Build Challenge from a galaxy far, far away. Let's get ready to room build!
Good evening, all. I'm Brian from the Smuggler's Room, and the results from the Andor Challenge are finally here. First of all, thank you all so much for participating in this, and thank you especially for having patience with us as we finally get this wrapped up. I will say this is primarily my fault that it's taken this long to get here, so we very much appreciate it. But enough of all that, let's review some panels and announce the winners. Okay, first up for me is Brandon Hunt, and he took inspiration from Episode 1 from Morlana 1. He used a variety of materials such as acrylic, MDF, and more. There are a ton of electronics included in this as well. I love the design. I think that the use of the star map gives us a perfect focal point, and all the other attributes tie into this project very well. I particularly loved the exposed damage area at the top that shows the inner wiring. This is genius storytelling, and I absolutely enjoyed that part. Brandon, you nailed it. Great job on the project. Next up is my friend Jimmy Santos, and his inspiration was the droid found on Luthen's ship, the Fondor. Jimmy used a combination of plywood, a Galaxy's Edge Coke bottle, battery-powered Christmas lights, and a slew of other found parts to complete his project. One thing of note is Jimmy mocked up everything in cardboard to prevent from wasting any costly materials. Jimmy, I love the movement that you were able to get out of this project. I also really enjoyed that you used the Fondor droid as inspiration, but made this your own. The pinstriping, weathering were all excellent, and I think you did an outstanding job on this project. Continuing on, we have Thespina McLaughlin. You all know her as the Resin Bell. And I'm praying that I pronounced your awesome name correctly, and if I didn't, I apologize. This one blew me away. The build looks like it was pulled right off the set of Andor. Everything was made with items she had on hand, and all the LEDs are tinted epoxy resin with strip lighting inside. I love that! That's amazing! It's such a great technique, and on her YouTube channel she shows the whole process of how it was done. The weathering on this is dirty and grimy, which fits the aesthetic perfectly, and she was trying to capture that red dust and dirt from the bricks of Ferrix. It's a brilliant build, and I can't wait to try that epoxy technique on a project of my own. Thanks for submitting it. It was awesome. The last but not least of those that I'm reviewing for you comes from Brett Tinius. This build is all kinds of cool. It captures the lift control panel, and Brett did an amazing job of fully designing and prototyping this project from scratch. The backlit buttons are brilliant, pun intended, and I absolutely love the weathering on this piece. In his short video, he takes you through the entire process. There's a mix of techniques, ingenuity in this build, and I'm super curious, Brett, if you have plans for functionality of those buttons. Again, this build could easily be pulled or put directly on the set of Andor. Brett, I love the build. Outstanding, my friend.
This is Martin from the Dune Sea Outpost. Next up is the spy control panel made by Joseph Dunnigan from Stillwater, Oklahoma. Joseph's design is completely original, but clearly draws from the Star Wars visual language. The hexagons, square tiles, rounded corner rectangles, the upper right corner module. Even though Joseph drew inspiration from Chandrilia and Bespin, this panel could fit in many locations within the Star Wars universe. What blew me away with this entry was the interactivity of its clever hidden key and contraband compartment. That feature is ingenious and makes this a fun build to use regularly. I can imagine myself keeping a set of spare keys in there. This is certainly one of my favorite entries. Moving on, we have a Fondor Droid module by Brian Trainier from Westchester, Ohio. Brian modeled his creation using Trimble SketchUp and 3D printed it in PLA. He also used 1/8" hardboard for the case, flashlights for the photoreceptors, chrome-plated wire loom, acrylic tiles, and automotive tape for the pinstripes. Although we don't have a video to show it, the model does have a servo that rotates the photoreceptors, or eyes, controlled by a potentiometer and an Elegoo Uno board. I really like how screen accurate this build came out, so even though we have other super cool entries based on the same prop, this is the one that I like the most. Now this next build I would love to have mounted on the wall and is a very cool and original design. It is a gas regeneration unit created by Dan Smith. And his idea was that this panel would sit in the back of Luthen's antique shop and power the various pneumatic tools used to clean and restore the art pieces before display. The detail of this build is insane. The small gas canisters are color-coded and have their own barcodes for identification. Dan cleverly used a mix of dollar store parts, from squirt guns to food containers, along with other Greeblies to create molds to make even more intricate parts for his build. You can see the end result of this absolutely stunning prop. Excellent work, Dan. The next panel comes all the way from the Gold Coast in Australia, down under. And it is a functional control panel made by Robert Mueller. You can see that it has 4 standard flick switches, 4 LED switches, and some very familiar rocker switches, complete with their own LEDs. Plus, we have the typical square tiles and a couple of Greeblies, one of which is a hard drive motor and the other one is a working speaker. The whole unit is operated via wireless remote, which triggers the lights and sounds and shows the insane amount of work Robert put into this build's electronics. The design is spot on and the wireless remote operation just blew me away. Amazing work. From Gloucester, Virginia comes this next piece, made by Seth Craig, and it has one of the most peculiar backstories. This is the control panel of a speeder bike, similar to the one Andor and Luthen used to get away from the corpos on episode 3 of the series. There are plenty of working buttons in this build, which also incorporate sounds. This is a very unique build, nicely weathered, which would seem fitting in a wide array of room builds, whether they are Star Wars, Aliens, or Guardians of the Galaxy themed.
Hi, this is Kelly from Props and Villainy. Up first is Gary Mapletoft with his Power Coupling Surge warning panel. This thing is awesome, man. Visually, it's beautiful. He used a bunch of layers, pipes and calculators, tons of Greeblies, decals. My favorite part was the arrangement of Greeblies, the rust. A lot was put into this, I can tell, and it would look great in anybody's spaceship Star Wars room. Thumbs up, man. Did a great job. Should be proud of that. Next up is Michael Rains with Allied Spacecraft Corp with his repurposed mining panel. Visually, this thing's pretty nice. I like the colors, especially the soundboard with the lighted buttons. When you push those, it has all different kinds of sounds. And what my favorite part about it was when you hung it on the wall and you had conduit, wires everywhere, that was my favorite part. It looked like it's in universe and it had a purpose. Good job, man. Up next, Ray Cooley with his Rebel Spy control panel. All right, man, this is one of my favorite ones. Visually, it was kind of plain. I looked at it, I was like, it's a nice looking panel. The little lights in the front were cool. And then, surprise, it opened up. I was like, head just exploded. Tons of greeblies, tons of things to look at. A little CB radio, lights blinking, all that stuff. One of the coolest panels I've ever seen. Way to go. I loved it. And last but not least, Sean Cash's Andor panel, right from Surreal's mother's house. Visually, this thing is awesome. I love the shape, the switches, the knobs, the speaker knobs. It's got it all. Got the lights. What really helped it was that foam backer display that you made. I know it doesn't count. You won't be awarded any extra points for that. It just made it pop. It's one of my favorite ones. I'm glad I got to review it. And you can send that to me anytime, Sean. Love it, great job.
What's up guys, I'm James from the Rebel Base Builds and I can't wait to tell you about these panels. I assure you I'm going to be fair and I'm under no duress whatsoever to make any of them appear better than the others. Let's check it out. Okay, first up we've got Dave Cramer and he's created a panel lifted completely from one of the scenes in Andor. It's amazing and it's inspired, and what I like about it is he uses lots of different materials, everything from 3D printing to hardboard, even EVA foam, and he's situated an LCD picture frame behind the panel. It works really well, it's really convincing. I like the weathering, we've got 3 layers going on there. We can see some chipped metal and also some rust. Yeah, this thing would look great on anybody's wall. Next up we've got a panel from Jamil Zebian, and this one is amazing. It uses again lots of different materials and has been lifted from the show. It always amazes me. I mean, I do this too in my own builds, but to be able to recreate stuff based on a couple of little screenshots here and there, it just always blows my mind to see that finished product. What I love about this is there is some really beautiful use of coloured perspex and LED lighting, and it just really cuts through the design itself. Clearly we've used some 3D printed parts and some perspex sheets, and the LED strips are placed in just the perfect way that when you turn the lights down, everything pops. I love it. And also, great use of that good old retro stereo knob. Okay, up next we've got Kyle and Melissa Bullard, and they have used a discarded electrical box. This is such an amazing idea. The box itself lends itself in its natural form to Star Wars panels, but you've taken it one step further and added colour and lighting and laser cut parts in just the right way, and that hammered paint that you put on there works brilliantly. The LED lights again make this thing really pop, and I also really enjoy the use of the Star Wars font along the bottom there. It's amazing. Good work guys. Patrick Henderson, my dude, you've gone and done it. The egg slicer had to happen. What I love about this is the simplicity. What I love about Andor is the simplicity of some of those props, but you nailed it with this one. It's a really simple laser cut piece, a couple of different layers, a ring, a frame surround, and obviously the details on the main piece. But there we are with the egg slicer put on there, does the job perfectly. You've also added some LEDs because why not? We always add LEDs to props, it just makes them pop. And overall the paint job is great, good bit of weathering. Yeah, well done man, this is good. Thomas Nixon, dude, you've blown me away with this one. I've got to say, you have taken one of my favorite elements of Andor, and that's the droid control panel from the Fondor, which is just on every level cool. And you have done an amazing job with this. The finish is brilliant. Clearly 3D model, 3D printed elements, LEDs, broken, used circuit boards. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff going on in this, and I don't even for 1 minute want to start to explain how you've done it, but you have motorized control movement going on this panel as well. And in one of your videos you showed it to be voice activated, which is just, again, all levels of cool. So yeah, this is an amazing, inspired, wonderfully put together build. Well done.
Okay, my friends, we have reached the end and it's time to announce the winners. But before I do, I want to again thank each and every participant for taking the time to build the project, submit all the photos and everything that goes with it. We're so appreciative of your patience as well as we got to the end of this. I also want to thank you as the community for taking the time to vote for all of your favorite panels. It was awesome to see so many turnout to be involved. If there were any of you that did YouTube build videos or any other resources where people can watch you build your project, we will link all of those in the comments below so that everyone can go check out the full process. Okay, so here we go. In third place, and this was incredibly close, we have Brandon Hunt and his radar screen control panel. And in second place, with his awesome Ferrix control panel, we have Jamil Zebian. And finally, in first place of the Andor Control Panel Challenge and his design of the Holcraft droid computer, Thomas Nixon. Congrats to all the winners and all of you that participated. For those that did win, we have some prizes that we're going to send out, and we'll reach out to you to get addresses and coordinate getting those shipped. I want to give a special thanks to James from the Rebel Base Builds, Martine from the Dune Sea Outpost, and Kelly from Props and Villainy for joining in on this project challenge behind the scenes. All of them, along with myself, are going to be giving the prizes out for the winners, and I appreciate each of you being involved and doing the work on this end of things. For the rest of you, thank you for being part of this awesome community, making it one of the best places on the internet for Star Wars room building, prop building, and all the other magic that's going into this. There's a lot of encouragement from each of you to all the members, and we thank you very much for making it an awesome place. Okay, that's it for us. Good night, have a great evening, and we'll see you next time.